This is episode 69 of the Captain's Log. Nice.
It sure is.
And I tried to measure myself. And I swear it's not what you think it is. But I tried to measure myself. I don't understand sizing charts, especially when I'm trying to online shop.
What are you trying to purchase?
I finally bought the leather jacket that I need for the rest of my Jughead costume for Halloween. Because last year I was Jughead, and I want to be Jughead again this year and next year as well. I want a costume that I can like continually add on to or do different versions of, and so that's what I'm doing. Last
You're right. Jughead has persisted for decades.
Yeah.
He will persist for decades more. Jughead is eternal.
Jughead is eternal, right? Like I have the hat and the shirt from the Riverdale show, and this year I bought the Southside Serpents leather jacket, and that is the thing that I don't know if I got the right size, and I am very scared. I don't understand sizing charts. Sometimes I know exactly what I need. Sometimes the thing comes from China, and I'm like a quadruple XL, and I don't understand why. And
you're not, you ain't a big fella.
I'm fairly average.
Yeah.
That's just me.
They'd call you scrawny, maybe.
Yeah,
in like an affectionate way.
Like I'm
look at that scrawny scamp walking down the street on his way to some misadventures.
Look at that scrawny lad. I'm 5'9", maybe 5'10" on a good day. I'm like 135, 140 pounds. I'm small. I'm skinny. Like there's not much to me. But so one of my jackets that I have came from China. I bought it off of Amazon. I wasn't expecting it to be all that great quality, because I was like, I know this one is coming from China. I'm just it was really cheap. Like, I'm expecting this to just not be good, and it's actually fantastic.
I'm glad that Riverdale is also popular in China.
No. So
I know that international hit.
This is not that one. Just this is another jacket that I have. But it came from China, and so the sizing was all off. Like, I expected to be like, oh, I need to buy a large, maybe a medium, depending on what the sizes are.
Mm-hmm.
And I looked at their like US to Chinese size comparison thing, and I was like a double XL. I was like, okay, I don't understand it, but I'll get that one. And it fits, and it's fantastic. It's much nicer than I expected. It's fantastic. But then, as I'm looking for this Jughead one, there's a sizing chart, and it's like, if your chest is 36 inches, you should get this size. If it's 40 inches, you should get this size, and so on and so forth. And I was like, well, I don't really have measuring tape or anything like that. So what I did was I think it was these headphones, and I wrapped the cord around me, right? And then I have a big T-square, and I like measured it out on that.
The most art nerd thing you've ever said to me. Like, I just want a giant T-square.
Yeah, that's something that we had to have. And so I measured it out, and I think I was like 35, 36 inches. I don't know. But that seemed to be right. And so I go on their size chart, and it's like extra small. I'm just like, oof. I don't know about that. I'm not a small guy. Like, I'm fairly normal. That wouldn't be an
Yeah.
extra, and that's the smallest one that they have. And so I'm like, it would be weird if there was someone who was smaller than me that wanted to be Jughead and couldn't be Jughead. I feel like I'm so confused and I'm so scared and I'm so worried that I bought this and it's going to be the size of it's going to fit a chihuahua. And I'm just going to be like, oh no. And then like I don't have Amazon Prime, so it's getting here in like the middle of the month, and if I need to make a return or an exchange, it's gonna take for fucking ever. And I don't know. Well, woe is me, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 60.
Jughead again.
What was that? You have to be the same goddamn Jughead.
Like, this is it. Like, you just have to be the same Jughead again instead of slightly better Jughead. Like, oh no, what a terrible wrench in your plan. You're the character you were originally intending to be with one fewer accessory.
I am Jughead, but depressed. Oh yeah, that's me. That's what I'm worried about. But ladies and gentlemen, this is, as I mentioned, episode 69 of the Whatnauts Captain's Log. Yeah. Each week we gather to talk about all sorts of shenanigans, and we're gonna have some fun on this one because it is episode 69. My name is Kyle Springer, yes. And joining me is Melissa Wilkinson, as usual, as always. You are here.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing else to do on Friday nights.
You, me, and sad Jughead. So, we are gonna have some fun. What have you been up to this week? How has your week been?
It's pretty good. We're in October now. October is my power month.
There you go.
I'm dedicated to having a significantly good day every day this month.
Okay, and how is that?
I won trivia, finally.
There you go. That's a good start.
Yeah.
So
I saw my lucky truck, and I won trivia.
Look, there's a lot to unpack here with what you just said. Let's start with the trivia, but we're going to get to this lucky truck.
So it's just the same Geeks Who Drink bar trivia my friend and I go to every week. Mm-hmm. And normally we come in second. We rank second a lot, which ain't bad for being a two-person team when a lot of these are teams of 3, 4, or 5, often older than we are and of greater experience.
Okay.
So we're dedicated to this.
Sure, yeah.
Finally, we took home a #1 prize and we got 10 more gift card dollars for our troubles.
Hell yeah. Was there a theme to this one?
No, the individual rounds are themed, but we've not yet been to one that has an overall theme for the entire night. We've done trivia nights at other places that have themes. There's a local movie theater that does themed trivia once a month now, and they're like a little bar there. And the first one I went to was Quentin Tarantino trivia, which is very specific. And the next one I went to was 80s movie trivia, which is way too general. So who knows? I think October is horror movie trivia, obviously. But let's see what they take.
I'd say 80s movie is a good theme. Like if they did an overall theme and each round was like, hey, here's 80s horror, here's action stars, here's the gang gets into trouble. Right? Here's the Breakfast Club knockoffs.
Ended up being pretty good, but just in terms of like the way this theater does their theming, it's either like very big or very narrow. Mm-hmm. So, but they've just started, so I'm intrigued to see where they go next.
There was it was one of the Rooster Teeth podcasts. I don't remember if it was a recent one or if it was an older one that I was just listening to in my spare time. But they were talking about a place that instead of trivia, or instead of like an escape room thing, it's more of an actual game show type of thing. Have you heard of,
Ah.
like, they have their own like knockoff Jeopardy set, or their knockoff like Wheel of
Ooh.
Fortune set, and
Oh, a
you get to
set.
be, yeah, and like you
Knockoff
get to be
set.
on this game show. Have you heard of something like that?
I have not. I would love to go to just a pop-up game show around here. I
Wouldn't that
wish
be
game
sweet?
shows would take on the role that escape rooms had a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, escape rooms are still a thing, especially now that it's Halloween. There's ones that always pop up
Mhm.
and
Oh, they
stuff
still
like that.
exist for sure, but they, like, hit it hard several years ago.
Oh yeah,
And I am excited for the inevitable game show bubble. I wanna live there.
yeah. Do you know who Josh McCouga is? No.
Not remotely.
So he is
Am I supposed to?
not necessarily. He works for Collider, and he has a bunch of podcasts and shows and stuff like that. But he, for a long time now, has been campaigning for to be the next host of Jeopardy, and he, like, the inevitable day when Alex Trebek says, "Hey, this is my last season," he has been campaigning
Oh.
to, like, give me that job. I want that job, and I think
Mhm.
he'd be fantastic at it. So you should absolutely look him up on Twitter or go follow some of his shows, because he's hilarious too. So I think he would be a good host. But if you're into the game show circuit, he's someone to keep an eye on.
Okay. Exciting.
Yeah,
Hosts of tomorrow.
yeah. Who knows? Who knows? But that's all that I have to say on that. So Melissa, you have a lucky truck.
Oh, yeah.
What?
So there
What?
is
Why? Well, what is
there is
this?
a there is a local company called the Pool Specialists Inc. And
Okay.
I think their headquarters must be somewhere around where I am,
Mhm.
because for a couple miles up or down, I live off of a major road, and for a couple miles in either direction up and down this road, I will run into this truck. And they've got this weird logo that I love. And I would get so excited whenever I would see one of their trucks. And I don't know, it's become like a good omen for me. Like,
Do
if
they
my
have a
day is already
website?
going good enough that I get to see, I'm bringing it up for you right now. Hold on. I Here. This. Let me Skype you.
Can
Huh.
can you send it to me in Discord? Is that possible?
Well, well, then I have to open Discord. That could take minutes. Here, just Google the Pool Specialists Inc. and scroll down it past all the actual pictures of pools until you see a logo with two mysterious men. I will describe this for the audience.
Let's
So it's like a
see. Mysterious men. Oh, they are they in the, like, snorkel
Yes,
gear?
yes. Okay. So this is a black and white line drawing of a man in a shirtless man in a snorkel. Really simple looking,
It's
says swim, says pool. Sure it does. The same picture of the man is duplicated right next to him. Precisely the same. He is not mirrored. These two men are not bookends to text or anything.
yeah.
The second man is not faded away like a gradient. It's just man immediately next to him, exact same man. Like, it's such a graphic design oddity.
It's weird.
What is your take on this?
Well, Melissa, graphic design is my passion. Okay.
Exactly.
There's a meme out there that is, graphic design is my passion, and it's written in, like, Comic Sans and stuff like that. So
But for you, it
yeah,
legitimately is.
So my first full-time graphic design job I had when I was out in Texas. I lived in
Okay.
Laredo, Texas for a year, and I worked for a web design company. And boy, I had to work with so many logos that were just so bad, so
Oof.
bad, and they would be like, we'd be like, cool, we need like a high resolution file of your logo or something like that, and they would send us like 100 pixels by 100 pixel
Ooh.
JPEG.
They'd send you a live journal icon?
Basically, it'd be like it's like the equivalent of a Twitter icon, just
Ugh.
like, this is tiny, like we can't use this, it's gonna be incredibly pixelated. And so one of the things that we started doing is we were like, what if we just raise our prices like $500 more, and then for the people that need updates to this will just like, it's built in that I will just redo their logo, and not
Oh,
like
good.
not like come up with something new, but make it exactly how they had it. Like, go into Illustrator and like zoom in like 10,000% and see if I can remake a vector version of their logo
Yeah.
that we can use. And most of them just wouldn't know. Like, we didn't tell them that like this is what we were doing. I'm sure we actually did. I'm sure we actually did, but it was this thing like, let's just make it ourselves.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, I can do that. Sure, that's fine. Um, yeah, it's not a good, like,
It's so ominous also. It's got
because
this
it's these like
kind of
1950s style
vibe,
ad
like
men style, like,
they look like these are the men in black on their day off. Like these two identical, foreboding, shadowy men. There's also too much shadow on this drawing. And he's wearing a
right?
snorkel, so you can't
They're
see his
not at
mouth,
the
but it does not look
beach.
like the man is smiling. Yeah,
They're
it's
not in a
like
pool.
it they seem like they are sci-fi henchmen. Like there's one and then another one like
This
steps out from behind him
it
and
looks
then they
like
walk towards you slowly but with snorkels.
this looks like something you'd see in some comic book from the 60s or 70s, the advertisements where it's like, you can
Yes.
get x-ray specs, or like, you get your beach bod now, and it has some like,
Yes.
or like, go from scrawny to strong man, right? And it has this very like, yeah, like 1950s 1960s style advertisement, like advertisement style characters and drawings. And then it's, yeah, the Pool Specialists Incorporated. And so it just seems
Yes.
very official, and not like, oh, you have a pool in your backyard, that's amazing and fun. It's just like, we are the Pool Specialists Incorporated.
Yeah, and just the
Completely
fact that
straight
it's
faced.
like it's not one man and it's not three or more men. It's two. And
What
there's no
if?
symmetry. There's like, we like this man. Oh, we still have space to fill. Copy paste man.
What if there's some conspiracy behind all the people that have pools in their homes? What if they're all connected somehow, in some way, and like,
Every pool you can take to every other pool.
it's like fast travel points in real
Oh,
life?
it's like the Flu Network in Harry
Yeah,
Potter, but it's just
it's the
suburban pools.
it's the pool network, yeah. And by the way, your camera is frozen. They are listening in on this
No, it
conversation,
ain't.
and they are having none of it. Now you're back. But it was for a sec there. Yeah, it's a weird logo. It's a real bad one, and the one we found online here was very small. You guys got to see
Yeah,
it
yeah.
if you were on the YouTube version.
It's, I suppose you could call it a bad logo, but more than bad, it's
Yeah,
just
it's not good.
utterly baffling in a way I love. I am delighted by this logo and its weird, unintentional, foreboding sci-fi aesthetic.
That's amazing. I love it. So I was gonna ask, have you had four good things happen in these 4 days we've had? You mentioned two, that you won trivia and you ran into your
Yeah.
lucky truck. Have you had something like, are you charting this out? Is this like, is this just like I am determined, or is it like I'm going to find something phenomenal each day?
It's more of like a positivity thing. My birthday's coming up and I've started to become real bummed around my birthday 'cause it's like, "Oh no, another year where I didn't do much, did I?" So I'm just trying to boost my spirits this month.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. I can get behind
Mhm.
that. Let's see here. Before we get on to the topic of the show that you mentioned last week, you kind of teased. I mean, you said what the topic
Yeah.
would be. Uh,
Yeah.
and just I guess to remind people or hint, we're going to debate which is sexier, Star Wars or Star Trek.
Yeah. Which is
Uh,
not a metric people use to debate these 2 franchises, but it's what I judge them on.
I don't know. I feel like you can find some arguments out there, some podcasts that have discussed this aplenty. But I so getting back to sizes really fast, I do want to shout out that there's this website, originalstitch.com,
Uh-huh.
that makes these really nice dress shirts and stuff like that. But they have a series of Pokemon shirts. They have been available in Japan for a while, but they just today launched here in the United States, and you can customize your own Pokemon dress shirt, and they are fantastic, and they
Ooh.
are like legitimately nice shirts, and they're expensive, and I really want to make one. They're fantastic. They have different fabrics for all 151 original Pokemon.
Oh my god.
So you can have the whole shirt be that fabric. You can have the collar be that fabric. You can have the like wrist, the cuffs be the fabric, or you can have the inside of the cuffs be the fabric. You can have the pocket be that fabric. The inside of the collar be that fabric. Like you can just make you can mix and match if you want to do like I'm gonna do 3 different fire types. You can do it, and I love them. They are fantastic. So that
Yeah,
is
I'm
one
looking
of
at
the things
these.
that I'm gonna do eventually, and one day you will see me in my Pokemon
What
dress
you're
shirt.
gonna get.
I don't know yet. I'm playing around with it.
Because I'm
I
looking at these fabric swatches now, and some of them are like little
Yeah,
icons.
they're
Like the
very
Bulbasaur one is
subtle.
just the Bulbasaur one is like little Bulbasaurs, but other ones, like the Arbok pattern is just like a paisley that is
Yeah,
done in Arbok's colors, looking like the patterns on its,
yeah, and the
cobra
the
body.
the teardrop shape in the paisley pattern is more of like an Arbok Pokemon. Um,
Yeah. Oh, I love the Meowth one. He's my favorite.
yeah. Hey, Sam. Sam is in the chat here with us. We are looking at originalstitch.com because they have Pokemon shirts, and they're fantastic, and I love them, and I want them, but they are so
And it's such
expensive.
a variety of patterns. Like
Yeah.
I see some like traditional Japanese patterns, but there's like ginghams and paisleys and so many kinds of stripes.
Yep. It's
Just get
fantastic.
a bunch of Dodrios all over it. Just so many varieties, just like the Pokemon themselves.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, that's kind of all I really wanted to shout out with that. Apparently my computer is
No, it's
telling me
cool to
that
look at.
DivX update is not optimized for my Mac. Okay, shut up. Go away. Um.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, are you keeping track of any of the New York Comic Con stuff that is happening right now?
I am aware it is this weekend, but I have not, made a chart of what news updates are scheduled to happen when.
Has,
Somebody will tell me when things happen. I
is
trust somebody.
is that something you're planning on doing at some point, going to the San Diego or New York one? Because to me, that is like one of these days I want to go to each of them one day.
I those sound too much. I don't think I could make that call now without having gone to more mid-size
Local
cons. I've
ones
been
or
to
something.
C2E2 in Chicago, which is
That's a big
C2E2 in
one.
Chicago is pretty big, but
Yeah.
it's not like this is a place where news is made. I think I'd start with like a Dragon Con or an Emerald City Comic Con, the like
Okay.
tier below the big ones.
Emerald
Let me see how I
City is
do with
a
those. And if
good one.
those
That's
aren't
also a big one.
overwhelming, then I'll hit the big boys.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, it's one of those things of just like I want to go while it is still a thing. Because not like, oh my god, Comic-Con is dying, but like they go back and forth in like relevance and stuff like that. Sometimes they are more like, we need to get back to our roots and we need to be comic focused and stuff like that. And
Uh-huh.
then sometimes it's like, there's no comics here. It's all like movies and TV shows and stuff like that. But it's still just like, this is a big like pop culture touchstone. Like a lot of things get it. Like I just want to go to say that I have been to one of
Yeah.
the big ones and not the local Richmond one here, who I saw our nude model of that I had in art school, and he was an old man, and I was like, oh, hey there, Larry. I remember you naked. Didn't know you were a fan of the Fantastic Four. But there you go.
I
Yes.
am
So
I am considering being a nude life drawing model
you
because I have a
should. It'd be
friend of
fun.
yes, I have a friend of mine that goes to like there's a local bar that just has like they'll do like art activities like that and they're like,
Uh-huh.
"Yeah, once a month we used to have nude drawing class." Well, you have clothes on, but the model doesn't. Come draw the model. And I'm
Yeah.
like, "I could do that." Cuz like you don't have to be particularly attractive to do it. You just really have to be a human. You just have to be made out of shapes.
Yeah.
I'm made out of tons of shapes.
Yeah. There's probably a few poses that you should get down and stuff, and just having the ability to like stand there and do nothing for up to an hour, right? That's Moses sitting there showing off her guns and
Classic
doing stuff.
poses is like Usain Bolt, right? That's a classic piece of figure drawing going back to the Renaissance.
Not exactly what I had in mind, but you're getting there. Yeah. I mean, yes. Speaking of like classic poses, you'll have to know what like contrapposto is. You might not need to know it exactly by name, like me, since I'm the art student. But
The contrapposto.
is when think of the statues of Julius Caesar, where he has all his weight on one leg, and your body makes
Got
this
it.
like slight like S curve, right?
I can I
Let
got
me
all kinds of
look it
curves.
up, and
I
I
can do
can
that.
show you. It's really simple. It's really subtle, but yeah, like that is like
Okay.
one of the classical like art poses like, hey, just,
Yeah.
well, you can tell by the contrapposto stance of the model that they really know how to, there's some bullshit like that. Let me see.
I'm not good
Contrapposto.
at
I
coming
think
up
that's
with
how it's
poses.
spelled.
Like, I never know what to do when I'm in a group photo and they're like, do a silly one. But, like, if you just tell me what to do,
Oh, here we go.
I can
Statue
manage
of
that.
David. Can I show this on
Oh,
Twitch?
I know him.
Am I allowed to? Am I allowed to show
We
rock
all know what
hard
it looks like. I don't know if
penises on
anybody has to be
Twitch?
shown the statue of David.
Here's one. Well, no, Google is still doing this stuff. What about? Oh, here. You know what? Let's see. Tools, size, the large ones. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Show me the big ones. This one? I feel like I can do that one. It's art. No, Sam, don't tell on me. Okay? We're gonna show
One
picture
marble
here.
dongle?
I think there's no, I don't want to download the picture. Just show me the picture. Let's see. View image. So here we go. It's a stock photo of some statue. Melissa, you can't see it on this end, but yeah, it's a statue in a contrapposto stance. There you go. So you guys just got to see a statue. Art, I tell you.
Art. We do so much in the show.
I actually applied to be an art model at my school. Never got called back, but I applied. I was like, hey, let me stand naked in front of a bunch of young students, and they can draw me.
Yeah.
Like I think that'd be really fun. Like with the I know there are like local communities and stuff out there that do stuff like that, but I think even if with like the right group of friends, like let's go to a drink and draw. Just like let's all take turns just being the model 1 week. I think that'd be super fun.
Ooh, what a theme party!
And there's alcohol and it's great, and we can just draw other. Let's see, Sam, a little bit back up in the chat, you mentioned Steven Universe, which has nothing to do with contrapposto. I just started watching Steven Universe for the first time. I'm watching it with the girl that I like. She is super into that show and she loves it. She's like, Kyle, you need to watch this with me. So I was like, okay. So we started from season 1,
is this Tub
episode
girl?
1. Yes, this is Tub Thumping Girl. So we are watching that together. But yes, I saw that they released the like Steven Universe future I guess teaser trailer, something like that. I didn't look at exactly what it was, but I sent her the link. I was like, look, Steven Universe news. So there you go.
God, I'm glad you're watching that thing.
It's fun.
Have not watched it in a long time. I like kind of
Cookie
fell
Cat.
off when it became.
He left his family behind. It's a great show. I love it a lot.
I love Cookie Cat.
It's fun, but I'm not.
I kind of fell off when it just became harder to find a place to catch up on new episodes legally, as I prefer to do. But
it's all on Hulu right now.
It might be now. I haven't checked in, and
that's where we are watching it. We're watching it on Hulu.
Yeah.
Do you want to open up the debate team and see how we can spend episode 69, debating which is sexier, Star Wars or Star
Yeah.
Trek.
Okay. This is something I cracked just recently. I like both franchises. I feel like it's easier to absorb Star Wars than it is Star Trek because it's just like watch these incredibly popular movies everyone's talking about, whereas with
Sure.
Star Trek it's so much bigger, it's unwieldy, like everybody knows Wrath of Khan and the movie with the whales, but I don't really know what's in most of the other movies, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's more amorphous. So I really like both of them. But I've always liked Star Trek more aesthetically, even if I've hours wise seen less of it than I think I have of Star Wars.
Interesting.
Aesthetically, I dig Star Trek so much. And I cracked this recently and I'm like, "Oh, that's like a hot, successful adult world to live in." And I don't think Star Wars is.
Okay. So that's where you're going with this. Interesting.
Yeah, like I am thinking about your average life as just a person, like just a Starfleet like corporal or something and just a Star Wars person. Like you're the equivalent of Rose. You're just like a mechanic on a spaceship somewhere.
Okay.
Like your life as just a layperson. You are getting laid more in Star Trek than in Star Wars.
See, so you mentioned this to me a couple weeks ago. You're like, Kyle, whatever we do, episode 69, we are going to talk about this. And I was like, that is A-okay with me.
I've been thinking about it for
but
a while, and I'm like, what a weird argument to bring up. You'd better save it for episode 69 because then it makes sense.
So my initial reaction to when you mentioned that was like, no, that is not the case. Star Wars is so much more sexy than Star Trek. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
So my relationship with Star Wars and Star Trek goes like this. Okay. I've never been attracted to Star Trek. However, in theory, I probably should be because I'm a big sci-fi nerd, and I like that stuff. But as someone who has literally seen zero Star Trek except for the first J.J. Abrams movie, which, by the way, I didn't like. Like, I don't know, Star Trek is just not for me. And Star Wars was one of those things, like, she'd always been around. I remember watching her when she was younger. That sounds bad. But like,
okay. So Star Wars is like your Mary Jane Watson, like the way she is in the Sam Raimi movies, where she's like the cute girl next door, not the way she is in the comics, where she's like, "Hi, Tiger, my aunt knows your aunt,
you just hit the
and you're
jackpot.
gonna take me out tonight."
So, like, I didn't get into Star Wars until later on. Like, I was just a casual fan. It was just like, I know her. She's hot.
Okay.
I would fuck her.
Okay.
That kind of thing. But it's like, I've never really talked with her, never taken her out on a date. So that's not gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
And then it actually wasn't until I moved out to Texas, like I had mentioned earlier, and my coworker at that very same web design studio was a huge Star Wars nerd. And this was like right at the time that Disney bought up Lucasfilms and stuff like that. So like a whole bunch of Star Wars news was coming out, and I finally decided to watch the Star Wars Clone Wars cartoon, and that is what made me fall in love with Star Wars. And I was like, I get it now. She is hot. He's really hot. Star Wars fucks, you know?
So, like, you've seen her around in class and she's cute, but now you've seen her all dolled up for the
Yeah.
winter turnaround dance.
Now I've gotten to spend some time with her. We've spent some quality time, and I'm just like, yeah, I really like you. We should do something, you know. But yeah, Star Trek to me just seems like sure. I'm not gonna say that Trek is not sexy. Star Trek always seems like the unobtainable sexy of just like, this is the businesswoman in a short like pencil neck skirt with her hair tied up. She means business, and if you start hitting on her, she will have none of it. And you're just like, cool, I'm gonna go over here and think about some things, if you know what I mean. But beside, like, there are no aliens in Star Trek that I have seen that I want to fuck.
Well, they're mostly like, oh, there's like human woman painted green. There's human woman with pointy ears. Human woman with like forehead ridges. Many kinds. Like, I'll give you the Twi'lek. Twi'lek, very hot alien.
Yeah, like there's just
like, I don't know if there's one.
I feel like there's more variety of aliens in Star Wars, maybe, and they also,
yeah.
Again, I guess I don't know if I have not seen enough Star Trek to know, but I feel like there's also more robots in Star Wars, and hey, there are people out there. I'm not saying I'm one of them, but people can have a robot fetish.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel fuck robots.
I haven't seen any of Battlestar Galactica, not to bring a third contender into this, but I think that's what that show is about.
Sure, yes. The blonde woman in Battlestar Galactica, I would actually fuck, because she is a robot in that one. But you don't know. Like, she is a robot that looks like a human being, and that's like one of the big major plot points of like, oh shit.
Yes.
Well, does this mean we have to treat them like people now? What is a life? What is personhood? What does that mean? And yeah, it's like what happens when robots find religion and stuff like that. But yeah, weird. It's great. I love that show. But yeah, like I feel like Star Wars is more the like punk rock chick that comes over. She smokes with you. She drinks with you. She'll fuck with you. Whereas Star Trek is, it's more about like diplomacy and intergalactic governmental treaties and stuff like that. And it's like, sure, you can have this sexy coworker that you fantasize about, and she looks really hot, and but you just like you don't. She doesn't, like, it's all fantasy, if that makes sense.
Okay.
That's what I think.
That's a really interesting perspective. I was expecting you to come to the table with that, where you're talking about it as an entire entity. Like the way people will say like a sexy new thriller, even though there's not sex in it, it's just so like exciting and pulse pounding and slick that equates to quote unquote sexy.
Yeah. Like the reboot of the Star Trek stuff from J.J. Abrams was supposed to be sexy.
I understand. Like yes, disregarding content aesthetically, it is glossy, it is crisp, it is sexy more than the original one or TNG or anything. Okay, I got it. I was thinking about just what if you were a person, like I was saying earlier. So, Star Wars, the world is dirty and scrappy and torn apart, which I understand for many people is the appeal of Star Wars. But it's it's not a world where I see any examples of a normal human life. Like people have a job to do, but nobody has like a job. There's no
I
semblance of
mean,
this.
power converters, Tashi Station. That's the most like normal. Like, I just want to go to get some power converters from Tashi Station. That is like he's sitting there drinking milk. Like, that's the most normal you can get.
Normal adult life. I'm not talking about him. He's just some farm boy then. But like, I don't. Let's take Poe Dameron, and this is not
Sure.
a question about the specific characters and their attractability. Like, I'm not holding up Oscar Isaac and Chris Pine and comparing them. Let's just
I
take
give
the character
you
as an
Oscar Isaac. Point Kyle.
So Poe Dameron, he is a pilot, of course, but like, what hours does he keep? How much is he paid for that job? What are his opportunities for advancement? Where does he live? I thought about this. I don't remember seeing a bedroom in Star Wars. Like, I think Padme has one in one of the prequel
Probably
movies.
see hers, yeah. The rest of them are like on ships,
like,
and they're like bunk beds and stuff like that.
Exactly. In Star Trek, you have a place to live. In Star Wars, you have a place to crash. It's so scrappy. There's no like society or structure or sense of safety anywhere. Like, you're just eating like, well, this is the food we could make out of powder and moisture. Mix it up as ration for me to eat. I will sleep on my bunk bed barracks as we hurtle through space trying to survive. There doesn't seem to be any sort of healthcare system besides like, what do they got? Antibacterial packs or something? They got that stuff. I've played the Star Wars RPG. That's most of my experience with it, and I play a robot, so what do I know? I ain't got those.
So there
But
is an episode of the Star Wars Clone Wars where R2D2 and C-3PO are sent out to get a Jogan fruit because they're hosting a party for the senators and stuff like that, and they get all sorts of sidetracked, but R2D2 gets like suckered into a spa day in that, where they're like cleaning his parts and stuff like that. It's fantastic. So kind of health care.
That falls under like body shop, you know. That's
Right.
like mechanic stuff. But I mean, like, is there birth control in Star Wars? I see no evidence of it. And there's all no sense like,
is there in Star
retail like
Trek though?
I can't name it specifically, but look at that world. Look at all the medical technology they have. Look at the sick bay you go to where a doctor like scans you with a thing and tells you exactly what you need. Like, they got it over there.
Well,
I don't know what they
what
got.
about
but they
the
probably
medical
have everything we know
facilities?
now and 5 kinds of futuristic birth control that have yet to be invented.
What about the medical facilities? Someone out there is going to be screaming the name of this planet, but the one where they make all the clones. It's medical facilities out the wazoo. They have that stuff. They have that stuff. They have sleek and shiny too. You remember the prequels with the just like the ship that Padme had, and it's all silver.
Okay.
Got it all. Got it all. Come to the dark side. We have cookies.
I don't know. Star Wars is so much more different than the average normal adult life. Like, don't. There's nothing to grab onto. Do they have lingerie? If so, where do you buy it?
You'd have to ask Jabba. Somehow he got his hands on some for Slave Leia, right?
Wait. Everything you you get is like stuff you have to like hand forge yourself, something you have to go to a shifty trader for, or something dusty you bought in like a dirty marketplace. There's no store or anything in Star Wars, which stresses
Victoria
me
has
out
no
a lot.
secrets in Tatooine.
Victoria's just like an old woman with one eye who lives behind, like, you have to push aside like a bunch of shawls hanging in
It's
the
Watto's
doorway.
wife who owns it. It's like, Annie, you want to buy some lingerie for your mother, Annie?
There's no... I don't see anybody in Star Wars put on mood lighting. And except for the case of the Star Wars holiday special, which I'll give you that, because Chewbacca's dad puts on this virtual reality thing and he just watches Diane Carroll do a sensual song and dance number. It's got that, but there's like, you can't put on sexy music. I've never seen anybody in Star Wars be like, well, let me just put on some music. They don't have
look, if in terms of porn parodies, would you rather watch a Star Trek porn parody or a Star Wars porn parody? Because I think I would rather do Star Wars, and I'm sure they have more genres.
Star Trek, 1,000 times.
They have. I feel like Star Wars could fill out more genres within the porn parody. They even got the incest ones, right?
Ugh. This is not a point for your argument.
I'm not. Look, incest porn. If that's what you watch, sure.
Star Wars, the entirety of, okay, to pretend that I am just a person, like I am just resistance fight ship mechanic number 3, you know? I've got no private space of my own. I have no way of obtaining reliable healthcare and just goods. The like the mood of everybody is just, I don't like, it's kind of a bummer. Like everybody's just like, oh, let's really grit our teeth and fight the Empire. Like there's, it's not a sexy atmosphere, you know? I ain't up on it, but Star Trek. Okay. Star Trek you live in, even if you are like the lowest ranking Enterprise member, you still live and work all on this big, beautifully maintained, well-stocked ship. Everybody you know is right there. You, unless you're part of the field team, you don't have to go anywhere. And if you go on the field team, if you don't, just come back to exactly where you were. Everything is right there. So if you're like, you know, you're taking your break from working on the warp core or whatever,
Sure.
You're making eyes at your fellow mechanic. Oh, my quarters are right there. Let's go. We can be back before Scotty notices we're gone. Okay? You live and work in this one contained space. That makes it so easy. That's so convenient. You want to go to dinner? Just come to my quarters and I've got a replicator. Or we can go to Quark's bar. We can go to Guinon's bar. Like, there's no... Like, they've taken so much of the extra effort out of dating. Were you to be on the Enterprise? All the people right here. You know, you gotta...
I was gonna ask if they had like speed dating or something on the Enterprise or the like Star Destroyer ships. How funny would that be? Like they over the intercom you have this whole thing about, and Friday is speed dating night. Join us in the cafeteria for where you can win a date with Wedge Antilles. It's a date auction, right? And here's, you know him as Red Number 2. It's Porkins. I don't know if red number 2 is actually him, but win a date
my
with
name
Spock.
is General Huck. My interests are scowling.
Win a date with Spock. That'd be amazing.
So, yeah, Star Trek. You live and work on the ship, and this gives you such a sense of camaraderie. Like you are truly bonded with these people. In Star Wars has it too, sure. You're in like the heat of battle, like, oh, I just got away from those TIE fighters and I couldn't have done it without you. We escaped from that lightsaber battle. I don't know, whatever it is they're doing. Star Trek, I think, gives you a lot of this like day to day, like getting to know somebody because it's not all like action, run, chase, get the plans, destroy the thing. A lot of it's like routine, scientific, and diplomatic exploration. And that routine, I like. If you have a routine can get mundane. If it gets a little mundane, you start to glaze over, you start to daydream, you start to like make googly eyes the people around you. You start to think, oh, who can I take back to my quarters later? I feel like Star Wars, there's like no time for something like that. They're always on the go. There's something about Star Trek. Star Trek is a world with built in leisure. You have off hours. Unless you're in the middle of a war against the Romulans or whatever, your shift is over. You go to the bar. You talk to somebody at the bar. You know, you need you need some space condoms or whatever. Just go see Dr. McCoy. Just go to sickbay. They've got a ton of them. Like you don't have to worry about, oh, well, which bar should we go to? There's one on the ship. There might be two if it's very big. You go back to your quarters. You have nice quarters. You go back to your nice quarters. You have a replicator.
Mm-hmm.
You want champagne. There you go. You can get champagne, you can get strawberries, you can get anything you want. You want a nice wine and cheese basket? You got it. It's right there. I'm sure they've got something that can put on mood lighting and music. Wedge Antilles doesn't.
See, so you do make a good point in the sense that like, hey, when there is leisure time or downtime, what do people do? They fuck, right? That's what they do.
Yes.
I would argue that on top of that, I think wartime and like close encounters, all of that stuff make really strong bonds. That like you've seen all the like crime movies or war movies, all of that stuff where they go through a near-death experience and they come out on the opposite end like they are partners in crime. I feel like in the heat of the moments of some of that stuff, you get like, ooh, there are some close quarters, if you know what I mean.
I feel like Star Trek has enough action that you get both of those. It's well paced. You both have fury of war, and then you also have just like a 9 to 5 day job. Like it's both of those kind of put together in the world of the Starship Enterprise. These are her voyages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
are
can
you familiar
see that.
with? Are you familiar with the Olympic villages?
Like the concept of them in general?
So when they throw an Olympics, when the world does, they build like a village. These are like the housing quarters for the Olympians while they're there for the 2 or 3 weeks, however an Olympics lasts.
Right.
I forget from like every couple years to the next couple years. I do enjoy the Olympics. So it's these like all these little apartments all the Olympians live in together. And this is a true fact, I tell you. They are just stocked with condoms. Welcome to the front desk. Check in here. Here's your map of Rio de Janeiro. Basket of condoms. Here you go. Because they are so amped up. They're all at like peak physical condition. This is the highest time of their lives.
It's a big party.
There's going to be boning all around the place. So they prepare for this. They're like, okay, all right, here you go. And I imagine like Star Trek is so utopian. It must be set up like an Olympic village. It's like, well, here all of you are in your like tight color-coded uniforms, and you're just incredibly successful people saving the day, charting new worlds all the time. Energies are high. Hi, welcome to sick bay. Basket of space condoms is over there. The Olympians also get like as much McDonald's they can eat, which you could replicate for yourself in Star Trek,
Sure, right?
which is not related to the argument at hand. It's just neat.
Come back to my room, babe. I can replicate you some McDonald's.
Like everybody talks about like, oh, the chance to represent your country and wave a flag and win a medal and be the best at your sport. Nobody talks about like all the McDonald's you want, which is what I'm thinking about.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think your life as an average person, as just average Starfleet officer versus average resistance fighter.
See, I think
I don't know, it is a life of greater leisure, of greater amenities, and
I think you can find it. I think you can find that in Star Wars as well. Because sure, you do have the wars. I guess the one war, the Star War that they've had, right? Like there is that stuff that I've been talking about, but then there is that like daily life monotony of both the like governmental and trade treaties and blockades and stuff like that we saw in the prequel movies, as well as like what about the like before Attack of the Clones, when the war wasn't really actually going, like there wasn't actually a war going on, and so even though stuff was happening, I'm sure there were ships out there who were just like, hey, you're just stationed here and that's it, and there's nothing for you to do. And so yeah, it is these big ships with like a ton of people on them. Like, hey, Sarah, I heard there's speed dating going on at the cafeteria on Friday. You want to go? Right? Like, I'm sure that stuff is in there.
Yeah. There's definitely like empires just, all right, well, we should have a base on Hoth. You just staff the Hoth base. Also research some ice while you're there. Sure.
Yeah.
They've got it too.
Yeah.
I neglected to bring up the holodeck.
Okay.
Which I feel like is also a big point in Star Trek's favor. This comes in the TNG era. It is it's like a danger room, where it's a massive room full of holograms, but there's no danger. At least there's not supposed to be, despite all the episodes where the holodeck malfunctions and you're like stuck in Robin Hood times. Like you can be wherever you want to be in the holodeck. If you want to take Ensign Carol on a romantic trip to Paris, there you go. If you want to ride wild stallions across a blowing wheat field and on the Iowa prairie, you can go do that. You want some time at the beach,
universe of Star
you want to.
I don't know why you would want to go to Iowa when there's all these planets you can go to.
Well, that's where James T. Kirk is from. This is something else about Star Trek. Like Earth still exists, and this might just be me, but like Star Trek offers such like safety and stability and security that I'm like, yes, this is a place where I can feel comfortable and turned on. In Star Wars, like. What's anything?
I don't know, man. That empire is coming to get
planets. Me. I don't know where I am. Yeah. Star Trek is a safer world with just enough thrills.
Like
you got the holodeck. You've got the pleasure planet Risa. It is built for you to go out there and have sexcapades.
Okay. See, I feel like I'm more into the like, hey, let's go into this like the seedy underbelly of this whole Like let's go to the market and like explore
What
and
a
find
nice
some,
date.
right? Let's go fuck in the alley, right? No one's gonna see us there. It's gonna be great. uh like I feel like there's a sense of danger there, or a like there's just this excitement that Star
Mhm.
Trek doesn't have.
Okay. See, as you were saying earlier, Star Wars is like a cool punk girl that will come over and smoke cigarettes with you. And Star Trek is like a man with a nice professional job and a clean haircut, which is what I like.
who who has a job, and he works like 60 to 70 hours a week. That's what I feel like it is. There's no time for you.
Then he comes home to his. They got downtime. There's no commute when you live on a starship. You walk 10 minutes, you take the turbo down. Welcome to my quarters.
There you go. There you go. Both are nice in their own way,
Yeah.
because I feel like my chances of getting a sugar daddy or sugar mama would be greater in Star Trek.
Yeah, like a walks just Troy's mom, I guess, fills that role. Just like some rich merchant from like trying to name a planet where rich merchants come from. I don't know. He could be from Earth. Who says he has to be from space?
Sure.
People from Earth go out to space all the time.
Jeff Bezos himself, a rich merchant from Earth.
You've got all these, I'm from this planet where we have the rarest spice in the universe, and I'm from this planet with the most glittering jewels. And there's a guy who's like, my dad just owns a watch company.
I
We live
started as a
in
simple
Pittsburgh.
bookseller, and now I am the wealthiest man on the planet. My name is Jeff of Earth. I feel like if you're more into that, Star Trek would be where you want to go. But I feel like Star Wars is the kinkier side. That's why it is sexier.
Star
You
Trek,
look
I
so
think,
confused.
it offers
You're like
tremendous. No, I'm just trying to think it through because, like, I wouldn't say so, but I don't know enough about Star Wars to argue
like
back with you. Star
I
Trek, it
feel
is
like
safe, it is secure, it's tremendously comfortable,
I feel
and
like I would
everybody's successful.
I feel like it'd be easier to find some kind, like multiple kinds of sex clubs or something in the Star Wars universe rather than Star Trek. I'm sure they're out there, right?
Mm.
But that just I feel like that's something that would come up a lot more in Star Wars.
We're
Or
just
like
gonna have to see where the Mandalorian takes us.
brothels. Yeah. 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 We'll have to see there there is the whole romance storyline of Obi-Wan and the Duchess in Clone Wars. They had a good
Yeah.
storyline. They were getting it on.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that. Obi-Wan fucks.
Oh, I'm certain he would. Like, he's not that stringent to the rules. Aren't the Jedi kind of like, okay, don't have relationships or love anything? Like old school
Yes.
Jedi, aren't they like that?
That's all of them. That was the whole thing
Obi-Wan.
about Anakin and Padme. Like, they couldn't let that
Yes.
get out because it was against the rules.
Just let your Jedis marry. Star Trek, you can do anything you want. Who cares? They only care about the Prime Directive. They break that all the time. James
Well,
T. Kirk himself. They give him this test that is designed It is designed for him to lose. The Kobayashi Maru. It is a no-win scenario. It is designed for you to lose. It's a simulation to teach you, as a captain, sometimes you have to face loss. How do you deal with the loss? And he's like, I don't believe in no-win scenarios. And he reprograms the thing so he wins after all. I forget the point I was making. I just wanted to tell that story about my hero, James D. Kirk.
And you're like, and at the end, I conclude that Star Trek is sexier than Star Wars. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Talking about like breaking the rules, like, oh, Star Trek, they don't abide by that at all. They're living wild, living free, but still in like a safe and egalitarian, clean environment.
Yeah, so like the Jedi are beholden to those rules, even though they're not really beholden to their original rules anymore. If you go by what they should be, they should not, in fact, be involved, like as involved as they are. Right? They ended up becoming basically the military generals of the why am I freezing on this? Not the Empire, not that I don't want to say the Senate, because that's not who they're really representing. The other side, the opposing team, the away team. I don't know. But they technically aren't supposed to do that. Like, that is technically them breaking the rules. And then it also depends on how deep into the lore you want to get, and this whole idea of the split between the Jedi and the Sith, and maybe the original thing was you were supposed to have a little bit of both. Like Star-Lord would say, a little bit of both, right? Maybe we do some good, maybe we do some bad. That's maybe more like what it was supposed to be, and then like there was this civil war that kind of split them, of like, no, you need one or the other, and you need to be more on the extremist sides, and that's how we got the Jedi and the Sith that we know now. But there you go, and that is why Star Wars is sexier than Star Trek. Thank you for coming to my TED Talks. I'm gonna go fuck a robot.
The question just may never be answered. Or we'll meet back here for episode 169 after we've both
this is like DC Comics, so like, who is faster, Superman or the Flash? And they never figure it out. Because we can't say definitively. The Flash is the fastest man alive, but Superman, despite it being in his name, is not actually a man. He's an alien. So what's going on there? So who knows? That's fun, though.
Superman would let Flash win. He doesn't have that much ego.
They always...
I think he'd be nice to his friend
They
Barry.
Always come up with something where it's like, oh, something happens and they now have to go help someone, and they call off the race because of it. Or Lex Luthor attacks and he has red kryptonite or something new, or something like that. And it's just like, oh, I guess we'll find out next time, Superman. Meet you back here next year.
17 years,
right.
3 universes later.
Yeah. See you next reboot. So, oy. Good stuff. Fun stuff. Completely unrelated to Star Wars or Star Trek, I wanted to show you this Twitter thread. This more has to do with
read through that.
Episode 69. I will put it in the chat for people who want to see it. This comes from Alana Pierce on Twitter. She's fantastic if you don't follow her. But she has a whole thread of screenshots that she's gotten from Nintendo games. It's all Nintendo video games. And with each one, she just says, send this to your crush. And it's stuff like this. Like, you make me come very hard. And it's this picture of Donkey Kong. And it's supposed to be like, that's the computer and you're on the very hard difficulty, but it's like, it says, come very hard. Come very hard. Nice. And then there's one, it's the one that we posted with this tweet, and it's a picture of Luigi, and he says, spit in this hole. And then the one from Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu that we've all seen, you've got two great balls. And then there's one that says, send this to your, wait a minute, and it's from Spyro, and it says, the dry canyon.
I saw the one of Waluigi from Mario Golf that says, you've won this hole.
Yeah, you've
I
won
saw
this
that on
hole.
Tumblr years ago. Also labeled with "send this to your crush."
Yeah.
Not to say like she took it. I'm sure that is a
thought
just path many
compiled
of
them.
Gone down.
Yeah, she's compiled them. So here's one from Kingdom Hearts, and it's, I've heard that Keyblade can open all sorts of locks. And they're on bed. It's fucking hilarious. And then here's one from Wario that says, tear this hole up. It is the worst.
Identify with that. I have thought about, I think like several times a year, ever since I saw it in probably 2013, I will think about, you've won this. I have yet to have a man to send it to.
Here is King Bomb from what looks to be some kind of Mario Party game, and it says, whose giant hole is this? It's mine. Oh my god. And then and then last but not least on here, it looks like from the new Mario Kart Tour, and it's I forget what his actual name is, but it's the guy that holds the flag. He's the Koopa in the cloud that usually does the camera and will like fish you out of the
Koopa.
stuff. Yeah, he says, way to go. This calls for a celebration. And what better way to celebrate than firing something out of the pipe? So, there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
That one.
Save those for Valentine's Day, or when you meet a new girl that you like.
Every day.
Or when you're about to do sexy times, or maybe as you're doing sexy times, tell your crush to spit in this hole. There you go.
What is the context of that original screenshot? Because Luigi, a nice man, I can't imagine him asking anybody to spit on anything. What is it for?
I don't know off the top of my head what game it's actually from. It says player 1 is Luigi. It might be, it looks like it's from like a DS game, or maybe something on the Wii. Maybe Mario Party, maybe something, who knows? Who knows? But yeah, it says spit in this hole. There you go. It's some Mario Party, but I'm not sure, says Sam. There was another one I saw. I think it was from Paper Mario or something like that. Not as dirty as this, but it's Toad like peering out the door of his house, and he is like you can come inside if you want. I have TV and something like I have surround sound. It won't be weird. Just like, what? Why would you say it won't be weird? That just made it weird. Like that's what you
I mean,
don't
you won't
say
be
when
too
you're
surrounded by the sound. It will keep a respectable boundary.
like when you're invite like it doesn't matter what date you're on. If you're inviting your date to come upstairs, you don't end the invitation by saying it won't be weird. So there you go. Sam says the Luigi one is apparently Mario Golf, which would make sense considering
Why is
the
there
whole.
spitting in that game? I don't care what game it is. I care about what.
Don't question
What is
it,
he
Melissa.
requesting and why?
Don't question it. Just send
Sorry
it to
to
your
kink shame
crush.
Luigi.
It's funny. It's great. So that is what I wanted to call attention to for episode 69. It's fantastic stuff.
Been a real wet and wild ride. Yeah.
You introduced the argument stuff a couple weeks ago, and I had to think about it long and hard, and here we are. So.
Can you put up a Twitter poll after we release this? I'm curious what the people think.
Sure, yeah. I will put up a Twitter poll. Actually, I'll do it right now, live on the air.
Ooh.
How do I do this stuff? I want to do a poll. Ask a question. What is...
Well, should we do it now? Should we wait until after the episode is released on the feeds and people can consult both of our arguments?
Sure, yeah.
Or do you want to see what people think cold before the arguments? I don't know. Let's have them listen to the arguments so they know on what planes.
Sure. Let's
we are approaching this, so they're not thinking, well, Oscar Isaac is hotter than Chris Pine. Click for Star Wars.
We will do that then. So by time this goes public, there will be a poll on our Twitter, twitter.com/the Whatnauts. You're at the Whatnauts. That's where you can find us. Let's see, a little bit of housekeeping before we get out of here. Last week on the Captain's Log, it was Google's birthday. And I can't believe that Google stole Spider-Man and gave it back to Disney. Incredible stuff.
He's shared. He has his two dads, like he's supposed to.
Yeah. We also talked about what drinks different websites would be, what drink Netflix would be, what drink Google would be, all sorts of stuff like that. It was good. It was fun. You guys should go check it out. If you didn't know, we also have a number of other podcasts, including the Review Show, which is our weekly book club style show. And through the whole month of October, we are going to be doing horror-themed stuff. We already recorded episode 1. I guess not episode 1, but the first episode of that themed month.
Yes.
And we covered Bram Stoker's Dracula. Speaking of episode 69, I always get it wrong, and I always say Stroker. And that's I have to keep correcting myself on that one. But we watched Dracula, and if you want more episode 69 goodness, there is some interesting stuff in that film too that you guys can go see. And
sure.
The Reactor Core is another one of our podcasts. You guys should absolutely go check out. No new episodes to speak of on that one. I'm trying to find someone to talk about the Breaking Bad film with. I haven't heard back.
All I know about Breaking Bad is that he threw pizza on the roof, so I can't do it.
He did that. He sure did. We do have a number of exclusive episodes. Actually, before I mention that, you guys can find all of our podcasts on our website, thewhatnauts.com, and wherever you get your podcasts. I just, you know what? I do this housekeeping at the end here. I feel like it goes on way too long. I need to find some way to truncate all of this, because I feel like at the end here I just ramble on here. So go check out our website, thewhatnauts.com. Go check us out on Patreon if you like what we do and you want to support. Patreon.com/thewhatnauts. You can get all sorts of perks there, including exclusive episodes, which, by the way, you and I need to talk about figuring out when to record the next one. So we will talk about that off air. Big thanks to our Patreon supporters, Sam and Christine, who are at the $5 tier. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for helping us out keeping the mics on, and helping us out with the hosting costs and such. It means a lot. Melissa, I have something in my eye. Okay, there we go. Where can the people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT.
And I am at Yo Kyle Springer.
No, I've got a special plug this week.
Go for it.
Just today, there's a new episode of the James Bond podcast Spectre that I guest starred on. You can hear me and the co-hosts Jake and Matt talk about Moonraker, which is maybe the corniest James Bond movie, but it is an absolute delight.
Sweet. Go check that out. Send me the link. I will put it in the description of all of this stuff.
It's on my, just go to my Twitter. You know what it is, because I just said it to everybody.
Exactly. I am at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter and Instagram. We are at The Whatnauts on Twitter. This has been episode 69 of The Whatnauts Captain's Log. Also, be on the lookout for something new coming from The Whatnauts very soon, down the road. With that being said, let's get out of here. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out that video. We appreciate it tons. We hope you had fun. Let us know in the comments below which you think is sexier, Star Wars or Star Trek. We would love to hear from you guys. That being said, go subscribe to our channel right up here and go watch one of our other videos, because we got all sorts of other podcasts for you to check out. That's it. We will see you next time. Bye. I got the hiccups. Ugh.